people of the United States. For the last few decades, a group of responsible, loyal citizens have not been receiving the rights they deserve. This group is no different than you and me on the outside or the inside. Yet, they have been treated unfairly and differently in a nation that prides itself on equality and fairness. They have done nothing wrong to hurt this nation. Yet, they have to fight for the basic rights we once promised to all those who wanted to call America their home. Let it be noted that I have every intention of ensuring the basic rights, liberties, and opportunities for all citizens of the United States, no matter their race, culture, or preferences. Just because something is different doesn't mean it should be treated differently. I believe this is the case when determining the future of gay rights in the United States. Just as Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream 50 years ago, I too have a dream in which we can overcome our differences and see the values in one another, not as individuals, but together as a nation. Currently, there are 9 million homosexuals who are without the rights they were once promised and deserve. Due to their inability to achieve marital status, they are being denied programs and benefits provided to those who are married. This in itself is enough reason to create programs that will eliminate discrimination and support gay rights. Without this status of marriage, 1,138 benefits are being denied to these people who must settle with a civil union status. Of these, unpaid leave to care for an ill spouse, the right not to testify against one's spouse in court, and Social Security survivor benefits and spousal benefits impact the lives of these gay couples most. Clearly, there are no signs of equality or fairness in this statistic. How can we call our nation a democratic nation when we cannot respect the privacy and decision of others? It is time to put aside our selfish attitude in exchange for a more caring outlook that I know this nation can give. It is time to legalize gay marriage. As I've noted before, privacy is something I believe every individual is entitled to. No person should feel as if they are limited or controlled by this nation. An individual's sexual preference deserves privacy and not an opinion from society or the government. I believe the government is in place to create equality and greater opportunity, but not to control those who place trust with us. However, if society is unwilling to accept gay marriage and more gay rights, then a law that creates equality will need to be put into place to protect those who are discriminated against. Hate crimes still exist today and are often violent in nature. In 2011, 30 fatal attacks on homosexuals were recorded, which is the highest number in our history. In Pennsylvania alone, 33% of homosexuals report having been physically abused by one of their own family members due to their sexual orientation. If these rights are given, then it is possible that we together as a nation can end these hate crimes and show respect for one another no matter our background. If we allow this idea of hate to continue, then we will lose track of why we created this nation in the first place, to escape the confinements of others and to create a place where no idea or lifestyle is wrong. Gay rights should not be seen as a disruption to our culture, but rather as a way to create equality and opportunity for those who have been restricted. If the American people are to feel relaxed and at ease, then our problems must have solutions. If you can imagine yourself in their position, then you will know the hardships they face on a daily basis just because of their sexual preference. No one should feel as if they were a puppet of society.
Question?
So do you plan to reverse the Defense of Marriage Act then?
Yes, we are actually against the Defense of Marriage Act. We believe that if you are married in any state, it should be recognized because that's how traditional marriage is. Megan?
were talking about how there's numerous attacks on homosexuals. What will you do for protection? Because I know you said you would protect them, but I just want to know some things that you will do.
Well, first we are hoping that by making gay marriage legal, that it will create a more equal basis, that people will see them more in an equal way, because right now the government is putting them down. So we hope that by legalizing gay marriage, that other people will recognize that they are equal. John?
What if a church leader or pastor refuses to marry a gay couple? What is your stance there?
Well, depends if it is against their religion. For example, I know Catholic priests would refuse to marry a gay couple, but I think it is up to that priest, because that is their religion. That's different. Laura?
You said you plan on passing a law to legalize gay marriage. How would you plan on pushing that through Congress?
Well, I know it has obviously been a controversial topic in the past, and it has been difficult to pass through, but that is one of my main focuses when I first get elected to office. I plan on showing them the facts, showing them what it could do. I mean, it's not just legalizing gay marriage. UCLA came out with reports that it'll create, in New Jersey alone, it'll create 800 new jobs, because people have jobs now in the marital business. There'll be new people to marry them, new workers in the government. Also, it said that in New York, it'll create $194 million over 3 years for New York alone if they do legalize gay marriage. Mara?
So you plan to make it like federally regulated instead of state?
Yes. Megan?
Now, what John was saying about how, like, obviously some people won't allow it to happen into their religion. What happens if there is no one that will recognize their partnership as a marriage, like religious-wise?
Well, that's with creating the 800 jobs. We're hoping that we can create jobs that people will marry them. I know in some religions it is with the religion that you can marry homosexual couples, and if not, we will create an opportunity for that, or the government will create, the state government will create that. John?
Just with what you said earlier, there's a separation between church and state, and the law of the land rules over like religious laws. So wouldn't that be discriminatory if a Catholic priest says, "No, I will not marry this gay couple"? Would that be a discriminatory act against them, even though it's against his religion?
Well, yes, but I think that in this case, their religion does rule over that, because it's kind of like the grandfather clause. Like, we won't change their whole entire view because we just created this new law. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Okay. Tori?
So if it's okay for a priest to say, this goes against, like, separation of church and state, it's my, like, belief, what if there's a justice of the peace or someone who works in the government? Could they just say it's, like, part of their religion or whatever? Would that still work for them, or would it only work for people in, like, in religious positions?
It would only work for the people in the higher up religious positions. The government cannot reject, a justice of the peace cannot reject a homosexual couple. Mara?
Going off what you were saying to John, what about polygamy? Because that's part of some people's religions. How would you address that? Because would that override state regulations too?
No, polygamy would still be illegal. We'd still make it unconstitutional to be a polygamist. Right now we're just focusing on monogamous relationships, legalizing gay marriage. That's our focus right now.
I'm guessing this is the case for you. Are you going to allow gay couples to adopt children?
Yes. Currently there's 100,000 children alone in the United States who still need to be adopted. And actually a study in 2010 by Pediatrics showed that children who are adopted by homosexual couples have the same emotional and physical abilities of children, and are actually proven to be somewhat smarter than children of heterosexual parents. Megan?
With what Mr. Campbell said, I unfortunately know in school that numerous people who are either homosexual themselves or who have homosexual parents. What are you going to do with them to protect them from being bullied? Because it gets extremely serious.
Well, yeah, bullying is obviously a great problem. As you heard, 30 fatal attacks in 2011 alone. And it's hard to distinctly control everyone, but we'll do our best to provide programs to schools to teach about bullying and to show that what it can do. Chrissy?
Going back to like the church and state, what would happen if a gay couple, like after they got married or anything like that, if they wanted to join a Catholic like church? Like you can join as a member. Like what if they would want to do that and then they were rejected?
We would probably have to step in at that point in the government. We'd probably have to take that to court, let the Supreme Court rule on that. That's a very tough situation because I know that most people who are homosexual, like my cousin for example, she does go to a Catholic church, but she found a priest that accepts her and accepts her presence.
Anybody else? Okay, give her a hand.